The third named storm in a week, Franklin, batters parts of the UK with floods, heavy rain and strong winds. Storm Franklin, the third named storm in a week, has brought heavy rain and strong winds to many parts of the UK. Severe flooding in Northern Ireland, Yorkshire and Manchester have forced people to leave their homes for safety. There are more than 130 flood warnings across England, Scotland and Wales, and danger to life alerts were issued in Bewdley and Ironbridge just in the last few hours. Danny Savage reports.
It's been a very wet weekend. Rivers across the UK have burst their banks and roads have been flooded. At Ironbridge in Shropshire, a severe flood warning is now in place for the River Severn. This is where the Environment Agency is most worried about.
Our temporary barriers are in place and they will obviously do what they can to protect the community, but we are expecting potentially seeing those barriers becoming overtopped, and hence why the severe flood warning has been issued.
Heavy rain across northern England meant these floodgates had to be opened in Manchester. It meant the local golf course disappeared underwater, but it saved homes from flooding.
We didn't get a great deal of sleep because we kept on checking the app, monitoring the water levels. A little bit concerning, but yeah, it feels like we're over the worst of it now.
A few miles away, a lorry caught fire after strong winds blew it into a bridge on the M6 near Wigan. The driver escaped unhurt, but there were long rush hour delays. A trip along the River Wharfe in North Yorkshire revealed numerous floods. This is the High Street in Tadcaster. The water was pretty deep.
Properties in Wharfe Bank Terrace that are lived in, they've had to evacuate. A guy on the other side of the bridge climbed down a ladder to get out of his flat. It's very disappointing for the town. You know, nobody wants to run a business when this happens to it every few years, do they?
Tadcaster Albion are now just one of many football clubs who won't be playing at home for a while. In the next village along, the bridge across the river was closed after showing signs that floodwater was making it move.
This is the River Wharfe at Boston Spa, and the main bridge linking the two halves of the community has had to be closed because a crack has appeared in it. And that means, for people living here, a 7-mile diversion to get from one side now to the other.
In South Yorkshire, Rotherham railway station looked as though it was built for boats rather than trains. Storm Franklin rattled through Northern Ireland first with gusts of nearly 80 miles per hour. Wales was hit too. This was Llandinam in Powys, where homes were flooded. And York has a new tourist attraction, just one place where the water is still rising. The problems from this conveyor belt of storms aren't over. Danny Savage, BBC News.
Moving on, and large parts of the UK have been hit by high winds and flooding as a third storm struck in less than a week. Homes have been evacuated, transport brought to a halt, and tens of thousands are still without power tonight. Our North of England reporter Hannah Miller is in Tadcaster in North Yorkshire. Hannah.
Well, the water is now going down here after the river burst its banks in the early hours of this morning and flooded around 60 properties. But it comes, as you say, off the back of both Storm Dudley and Storm Eunice, each hitting different parts of the UK in different ways, but leaving people here at least feeling pretty demoralised. This is how Storm Franklin swept across the UK. Crashing into the coast of Northern Ireland, leaving a trail of debris and destruction in its midst. As Storm Franklin battered the seaside town of Portstewart, leaving cars stranded and businesses submerged.
There's no sea defences down here really. They don't work when it gets like this here, so we'll get wetsuits on. We'll go in and see what the damage is.
The flooding forced the high street to close in the North Yorkshire town of Tadcaster. Oh my goodness, is this your business? As business owners looked on in despair after their third set of floods in 10 years.
Just devastation. There's no words, you can't really put it into words, you know, it's your livelihood, your business. What do you think, what do you do? It's just hard, it's just really hard.
The disruption continued on the trains, where passengers tried to navigate their way around thousands of cancellations, while repairs to power lines damaged last week have also been delayed because of the ongoing high winds.
I've got a thermos there, I was going to take it to my neighbours.
Leaving people like Annabelle near Liphook in Hampshire without electricity for 2 days.
I can't cook, I can't see in the evening at 6 o'clock, it's pitch dark. And I'm in despair because once again, here it is, it's freezing cold in this house, it's a very cold house anyway, and there's no news.
Tonight there was good news for some residents in South Manchester who were able to return safely home after being offered temporary shelter in a mosque.
It was a bit like a hen party. It was a bit like that, but nobody was getting married.
But across the country, people are having to pull together as their resilience is put to the test as the clean-up from yet another storm continues. Hannah Miller, ITV News.
Well, Storm Franklin may have moved on tonight, but it has left in its wake more than 100 flood warnings across England. And there are 2 severe flood warnings in place along the River Severn tonight, meaning a danger to life, including one at Ironbridge.
Before that, Dudley, Eunice and Franklin have all created chaos for the first time since the Met Office started naming severe storms. There have been 3 of them in under a week. Once more, trains were cancelled today and daily life disrupted. So why are there so many storms and could more be on the way? Here's Sally to explain.
The last few days have seen the weather causing chaos. You may remember this tree smashing into a bus in Biggin Hill. Wait for it. And this huge tree smashing through an old home in Brentwood. This morning, we all woke up to this, a yellow weather warning that started yesterday for Storm Franklin. Today was yet another day of disrupted travel across the capital, including here at Paddington.
I know that things change like this from experience, so I do not want to be stuck here overnight and pay for another hotel out of pocket.
We were on the train for like at least 40 minutes.
Yeah, 40 minutes.
And then we just found out that it's been cancelled.
I anticipated catching the train at 11:18 and that's cancelled. And some other trains that I maybe could have caught have been cancelled, so I'm a bit stuck now.
Storm Franklin today has done a lot more damage, but we've got thousands of railway workers out and about today and overnight clearing up the damage, and we expect to be running back as normal again tomorrow morning as the storm passes out into the North Sea.
Franklin is the 3rd storm, the 3rd deep area of low pressure to hit us in a week and follows on from Dudley last Wednesday and Eunice on Friday. Now, the Met Office started naming storms in 2015 to make people aware of them. But this is the first time we've had 3 named storms in a week since then. So what's up with our weather?
It's been a wild week of weather. We've seen these powerful storms one after another coming in and created by what's going on actually high up in the atmosphere, a really active jet stream at the moment. And that jet stream has just been invigorating these low pressure systems, developing them into storms. And jet stream's just in the right place or the wrong place to take them right across the UK.
On Friday, the O2 lost part of its roof when the capital had its first ever red weather warning with Storm Eunice. And over in the Royal Parks, around 150 trees have fallen, but that does compare to 4,500 that they lost in the Great Storm of '87 when the trees were in leaf and the ground was wet. There's still some wind over the next few days, but for now, the worst is over and the clean-up continues.